Hey, coin lovers! Did you know that a penny, yes, a simple 1-cent coin, could be worth more than your car? Well, I'm not talking about the penny you found in the bottom of your couch cushions. I'm talking about a real rare gem, the 1960 Abraham Lincoln penny. You won't believe it, but this little guy can fetch up to $6 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? Stick around, because I'm going to tell you all about this crazy valuable coin, how to spot it, and whether you're holding onto a jackpot or just, well, a penny. Let's dive in. Okay, so let's rewind a bit. It's 1960, the year we all saw some pretty big things going down. The 60s were rolling in full swing with the space race and rock and roll hitting its peak. But somewhere between all of that, the US Mint decided to crank out a batch of pennies. Most of them were pretty normal, but, and here's the twist, some of those pennies weren't minted correctly. Specifically, the 1960 Lincoln penny. A little error, a tiny little mistake, can make one of these pennies worth millions. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is this one of those stories where a guy finds a penny on the sidewalk, and suddenly he's a millionaire? Well, sort of. But it's not just any 1960 penny. This one's got an overdate error. What does that mean? Let me break it down. So, in 1960, the US Mint used two different dies to strike pennies. One die had a 1959 date, and when the minting process got rushed or misaligned, the 1959 was partially visible under the 1960 date, making it an overdate error. Some of these error pennies slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation. Now, imagine that you find one of these in your change jar or even in the couch cushions while you're digging for your lost TV remote. If it's in decent condition, cha-ching. You could be holding a coin that's worth up to $6 million. Yeah, you heard me right, $6 million. I can already hear your grandma asking, what? I've been saving these pennies for years. Well, I can't promise your 1960 penny is worth that much, but let's talk about what makes this thing so valuable. First, condition matters. A penny that's in mint condition, say, uncirculated or nearly perfect, will fetch a premium price. The more wear and tear, the less it's worth. But even a coin with some scratches can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its grade. So, it's all about how well preserved it is. Now, a quick side note here, I once found a penny in the parking lot of a grocery store. It looked like it had been through the wars, a little bent, some dirt on it. I picked it up, didn't think much of it, but then, get this, I sent it to be graded. Turns out, it was a rare 1943 steel penny, and I sold it for $300. Not $6 million, but still, pretty good for a coin I almost tossed in the trash. Imagine, though, that same story, but with a 1960 overdate penny. Yeah, that would have been a nice little surprise. Moral of the story, always check your change, folks. You never know when you're sitting on a fortune. Now, let's talk about how to spot the 1960 overdate penny. It's pretty easy to miss if you don't know what you're looking for. Look closely at the date. If you see any hint of a 9 or 5 underneath the 6 in the 1960, bingo. You've got a possible overdate error. But remember, it's gotta be in good shape to get top dollar. And if you find one, first things first, don't start spending it on coffee just yet. Get it graded by a professional. A grading service like PCGS or NGC will tell you exactly what your coin's worth, and that's when the fun really begins. You could end up with a lot more than a free coffee. So, to recap, the 1960 Lincoln penny with the overdate error could be worth up to $6 million. It's rare, it's valuable, and it's hiding out there somewhere, maybe even in your pocket. Keep your eyes peeled, check your coins, and don't let that next big find slip through your fingers. And hey, if you want more tips on which coins might be hiding in your collection and how to make money with rare coins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss any of our future videos. You won't believe what I just found in my change jar. I thought it was just another penny, but nope, turns out it was worth more than I could ever imagine. And if you've got a 1973 Abraham Lincoln penny sitting around, this could be your chance to cash in big. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes because we're about to dive into a penny that could be worth up to $5 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. But first, let's rewind and see what makes this little coin so special. So, we're talking about the 1973 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds like a boring old penny, right? Wrong. This one's actually pretty rare, and you're gonna want to check your pockets to see if you've got one hiding in there. Most 1973 pennies are just regular old copper, but this one, it's got a hidden mystery behind it. Now, let's talk about how this penny came to be. Back in 1973, there were some issues at the US Mint. Some pennies were produced without any mint mark on them, which is pretty odd. Most pennies have a mint mark showing where they were made, Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But for some reason, a small batch of 1973 pennies slipped through the cracks without that mint mark. So, you've got this coin that looks just like any other penny, except for one little detail that makes it a super rare find that I can already hear you asking, okay, so what's so special about a no mint mark penny? Why is it worth millions? Let's dig into that. First off, these no mint mark pennies are so rare because, well, they were made during a time when the mint was working hard to produce massive amounts of coins. The number of these pennies that were actually made without a mint mark is tiny, think like 1 in a million. This rarity makes them highly sought after by collectors, and when something's rare, the value goes up. Now, let's talk numbers. Some of these 1973 no mint mark pennies have sold for a whopping $5 million at auction. Yes, a penny, worth more than your car, your house, and probably your entire year's salary. Crazy, right? But here's the thing, you're probably not going to just find one of these in your pocket change. The key to finding these rare pennies is knowing exactly what to look for and understanding the market. Collectors and coin enthusiasts are always on the lookout for these hidden treasures. Let me tell you a quick story from my own experience. A couple of years ago, I bought a collection of old coins at an estate sale for a pretty decent price, nothing crazy, but it seemed like a good deal. As I was flipping through the coins, I noticed a 1973 penny that looked a little off. No mint mark. I was skeptical at first, but I decided to get it checked by a professional. Turns out, it was the real deal, worth a few $1,000s. It wasn't $5 million, but it was still a nice surprise. And that's why I'm here, helping you spot these potential gold mines. You never know what you've got sitting around, and this little penny could just be the start of your coin collection riches. So, let's go over some tips on how to find one of these rare 1973 pennies. First, always check your change. You never know when that elusive no mint mark penny will pop up. Second, don't just toss those old pennies in a jar, they could be worth something if you take the time to examine them. Lastly, if you find one, make sure you get it appraised by a professional. Some of these pennies have sold for millions, and you don't want to miss out on a potential fortune just because you didn't know what you had. Alright, guys, now you know the secret to finding a potential $5 million penny. Who knew something so small could hold such big value? If you're still wondering where to start or how to spot other coins that might be worth something, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'm constantly sharing tips, tricks, and coin hunting strategies that could help you make a pretty penny, or in some cases, a lot of pennies. And hey, if you found any rare coins in your collection, or you've got a 1973 penny you're not sure about, drop a comment below and let me know. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, keep hunting those hidden treasures, and who knows, your next find might just change your life. Did you know that a simple penny from 1980 could be worth a mind-blowing $4 million? I know, at first, I thought I was reading a typo, too. But trust me, it's true. Today, we're diving into the world of rare pennies, and specifically, the elusive 1980 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be looking at your spare change a little differently. Let me tell you a story. I was at a garage sale last year, sifting through a pile of old coins, hoping to find something cool, maybe a quarter from the 1950s or, at the very least, something I could sell for a few bucks. Then, out of nowhere, I spotted a penny. A 1980 penny. I looked at it, thought, yeah, not worth much, and tossed it in the meh pile. Little did I know, that very penny could have made me a millionaire if I had just paid more attention. Okay, let's get down to the details. You see, the 1980 Lincoln penny with NO mint mark, that's right, it's the one you're not supposed to find, is incredibly rare. Here's why: most pennies made in 1980 have a mint mark, a little D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But if you find a penny from that year with NO mint mark, well, congratulations, you've stumbled upon something special. Why is this penny so valuable? Well, it all comes down to a little mistake at the US Mint. Back in 1980, there was a tiny glitch in the production line, and a handful of these pennies slipped through the cracks without any mint mark. Over the years, collectors have gone wild over these elusive pennies, and the market for them has skyrocketed. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys in my change jar? Well, the trick is simple. Look at the back of the coin, right above the date. If you don't see that tiny mint mark, you could have gold in your pocket. Okay, maybe not gold, but close enough, potentially up to $4 million. Now, let's talk numbers. While most 1980 pennies are worth just 1 cent, shocking, right? A no mint mark version can go for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in the rarest cases, even millions. Why? Well, these errors are so rare that collectors are willing to pay top dollar to get their hands on them. In fact, one of these pennies recently sold for $4 million at auction. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny. And to think, I've been throwing my change in the tip jar all these years. Can you imagine? I mean, I've probably had about 10,000 of these in my lifetime, and now I'm over here wishing I could go back and look through my old piggy banks. Of course, not every 1980 penny without a mint mark is worth $4 million. But it's important to keep an eye out, because condition matters, too. Coins that are in better shape, like uncirculated or proof-like conditions, are worth much more than ones that are worn down or damaged. So, don't expect to find a mint condition penny just because it doesn't have a mint mark. But still, it's worth checking. Here's the thing: if you come across one of these rare 1980 pennies, make sure you get it appraised. You could be sitting on a small fortune. And if you don't have one yet, keep an eye on your change. You never know when you might pick up the next big find. So, the next time you're digging through your wallet or sorting through spare change, remember this story. It could be your lucky day, and you might just find yourself with a $4 million penny. Now, wouldn't that be a great Christmas gift to yourself? Alright, that's all for today's episode. If you found this video interesting, or if you've ever dreamt of finding a coin that could make you rich, hit that subscribe button. I'll be sharing more tips on how to spot rare coins and turn your collection into cash. And hey, don't forget to like, comment, and share this with your friends. Who knows? Maybe one of them is sitting on a treasure trove of pennies right now. 9:16 a.m. December 24th, 2024. Now, I know you're probably thinking, what in the world could make a 1981 penny worth $3 million? I mean, most of us have been through the old penny jar struggle, right? You toss a few coins in there, forget about them, and hope they'll magically multiply into a fortune. Well, guess what? That might just be possible with the right penny. Today, I'm diving into one particular coin that could be hiding in your loose change, your very own 1981 Lincoln penny. But hold on to your seats, because this little penny isn't as ordinary as you might think. In fact, it could be worth more than your entire coin collection combined. Let's talk about the rare and highly sought-after 1981 Lincoln penny with NO mint mark and how it's blowing minds with a current market value of $3 million. So, sit back, relax, and let me take you through this penny's fascinating story. In 1981, the U.S. Mint produced millions of pennies. These pennies were stamped with either a D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But, and here's the juicy part, not all of them. Some rare pennies were made without a mint mark at all. Now, you're probably wondering, how could something so small, so seemingly insignificant, be worth so much? Well, to answer that, we have to look at the history. Back in 1981, there was an unexpected mix-up at the mint. Due to an error in production, some of the pennies that were meant to carry a D or S mint mark didn't get one at all. These no mint mark 1981 pennies are the true treasures. Why? Well, they are incredibly rare. We're talking about a handful of pennies that somehow slipped through the cracks, and now they're worth a small fortune. In fact, the current market value of one of these coins is, drumroll, please, $3 million. Now, before you start checking every penny in your change jar, let me throw in a little reality check. Finding one of these bad boys isn't easy. Most of the time, they're hidden in plain sight, but only a few lucky people have come across them. And let's be real, most of us would probably mistake it for a regular 1981 penny. I remember the first time I found a coin that seemed valuable. It was a 1957 penny I found in a junk drawer at my grandma's house. I thought, oh, cool. I'm going to be rich. I threw it in my coin collection, which was mostly just a shoebox under my bed. Fast forward a few years, and I look it up online to find out it's worth maybe, 50 cents. So, lesson learned, don't get too excited until you've done your homework. But that's the difference between my 1957 penny and the 1981 no mint mark Lincoln penny. These coins are no joke. It's like winning the coin lottery. In fact, the first time one of these bad boys was sold at auction, it went for over $3 million. It's like they skipped straight to the high roller table in the casino. So, how do you spot one of these hidden gems? The most obvious giveaway is the missing mint mark. But don't think it's as simple as just flipping over any 1981 penny and hoping for the best. These coins require a trained eye to spot their real value, which can be tricky if you're not used to looking for these specific details. It's a good idea to consult a numismatic expert or get the coin professionally graded. If you think you found one of these elusive pennies, you might be wondering, what's the deal with these mint mark errors? Well, these little blunders are more common than you think in the world of coin collecting. Sometimes a minting error happens because of machinery malfunction or human oversight, and the result is a coin that's totally different from the intended design. Those are the ones that collectors go wild for. So, how can you make sure you don't miss out on an incredible find? First off, get familiar with the 1981 penny. Keep an eye out for the mint marks, or rather, the lack of one. And don't just toss pennies in the jar without taking a second look. You never know when you might be holding onto something that could set you up for a comfy retirement. Who knows, $3 million might just be around the corner. Alright, folks, I think it's safe to say that a 1981 no mint mark penny is the holy grail of pennies. Finding one is like finding a needle in a haystack, but when you do, it could be worth millions. So, the next time you're sifting through change or checking that penny jar, take a moment to give it a second look. Who knows? You might just find your golden ticket. If you learned something new today and want more tips on coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and all the ways you can turn your change into cash, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. And hey, if you do find that $3 million penny, remember where you got the tip from. You can thank me later. Catch you in the next video. Happy coin hunting, and good luck. You're not going to believe this, but you might have a small fortune sitting in your pocket right now. Yes, you heard me right. That random penny you just found at the bottom of your couch cushions could actually be worth $2 million. Wait, before you run to check your piggy bank, let me break it down for you. I'm talking about the 1982 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, I know what you're thinking, a penny. Worth 2 million. That's gotta be a joke. But trust me, this is real. And today, I'm going to tell you all about it, why this penny could change your life, and maybe even help you spot one in your own collection. The 1982 D penny is part of the famous Lincoln Memorial series. But here's the kicker, not all 1982 D pennies are worth a fortune, just the ones with a certain flaw. I know, you're probably thinking, flaw? Isn't that just a mistake coin that nobody wants? Well, let me tell you about this so-called mistake. It's actually a minting error that makes this particular penny a super rare collectible. Here's what happened. In 1982, the US Mint was transitioning from using copper to zinc for pennies, which means some pennies were made with the wrong materials. The 1982 D penny that's worth $2 million has this unique mistake, where the zinc core didn't get properly coated with the copper shell, making it a rare error coin. Think of it like getting a chocolate bar with no wrapper. Sure, it's still chocolate, but it's missing something special, right? That missing wrapper is the key to the big bucks. Now, if you've been scouring eBay or browsing through old coin shops, you've probably seen some crazy prices attached to these. And that's because finding one of these rare pennies in good condition is like stumbling upon a golden ticket in your cereal box. So, what makes this coin even more valuable? Well, it's not just the minting mistake that catches collectors' eyes, but the overall rarity. The 1982 D era coins were produced in such limited numbers, and most of them have been taken out of circulation over the years. If you find one in decent condition, and I mean, better than just a been in your pocket for 20 years condition, you could be sitting on something worth anywhere between a couple $100 to $2 million. Yeah, $2 million. That I remember the first time I found a penny like this. I was at a garage sale, seriously, you just never know what you're going to find, and I was looking through a box of old change when I spotted something that didn't look quite right. It was a 1982 D penny with some weird discoloration. So, of course, I did what any normal person would do, I Googled it. And bam! I found out that it might be a rare error coin. Long story short, I didn't end up getting rich off of that one, but the thrill of the hunt. Totally priceless. But how can you actually tell if you have one of these pennies? Good question, my friend. First, check the date and mint mark. The D mint mark means it was made in Denver. That's step 1. Then, take a close look at the coin's color and surface. It should look different from the usual 1982 pennies, with that odd discolored appearance because the copper didn't fully cover the zinc. If you find one in great shape, especially with no obvious wear, you could be looking at a rare gem. But before you start thinking you can retire on your coin collection, let's talk about the condition. As with any rare coin, the value increases dramatically with quality. If it's worn down to the point where you can't even make out the D mint mark, sorry to say, it's not going to make you a millionaire. But don't lose hope. Even a worn penny could still fetch a decent price. So now that you're all excited and checking every penny you come across, remember this, the 1982 D Abraham Lincoln penny is one of those rare finds that makes the coin collecting world go wild. While the $2 million price tag is the exception, there's definitely value in checking your pennies more closely, and hey, if you end up finding a valuable coin, don't forget to share your story with me, I'd love to hear about it. If you're enjoying these coin tips and want more advice on what to look out for in your pocket change, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I've got more info coming your way on rare coins that could put a little extra cash in your pocket, so hit that bell icon and never miss a treasure hunt. Listen up, coin lovers. If you've ever wondered whether that penny stuck at the bottom of your couch is worth anything, or if your collection of pennies could make you a millionaire, this is the video for you. We're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Yes, you heard that right. A penny worth $1 million. It sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, but trust me, this one is real. Stick around, because we're about to uncover why your spare change might just be worth more than your entire coffee order this morning. Let's get into the details, shall we? The 2016 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark is actually one of the most unexpectedly valuable pennies out there. Normally, you'd expect to find a mint mark on a penny, right? It's that tiny little D or S on the front of the coin, which tells you where it was made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker: in 2016, some pennies rolled off the press in Philadelphia without any mint mark. Yep, you heard me, no mint mark at all. Now, you might be thinking, so what? A missing letter doesn't sound like a big deal. Well, my friend, this tiny detail has made these pennies incredibly rare, and I'm talking rare as in only a few are out there. Here's where it gets juicy. That little oversight, no mint mark, means that some of these pennies are now worth a whole lot more than just 1 cent. Believe it or not, some of these 2016 pennies have been sold for over $1 million. Yes, a penny, worth more than my last vacation, and my new car. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, okay, this sounds like a fairy tale. But it's true. Coins with no mint mark are so rare because they were never supposed to happen. Minting mistakes like this don't happen often, and when they do, they cause collectors to lose their minds. They want it. They need it. And they'll pay a hefty price for it. That I know what you're thinking. I need to check my change right now. And I don't blame you. But before you rush off to dig through your penny jar or the bottom of your purse, let's talk about how you can actually identify one of these bad boys. First, it's all about the details. You'll need a magnifying glass, because it's all about the tiniest differences. Look closely at the front of the penny. If there's no mint mark, no D or S, and it's from 2016, you've got a potential treasure on your hands. Just make sure to check both sides, the front, the obverse, and the back, the reverse, because that mint mark could be hiding somewhere tricky. Also, keep an eye out for any other errors on the coin. Sometimes these error pennies can also include things like off-center strikes, double strikes, or weird imperfections that could increase their value even more. Think of it like finding an Easter egg inside your coin collection. Now, let me tell you a little story. A couple of years ago, I was doing the same thing you're probably doing right now, combing through a pile of pennies I'd found in my couch cushions. I thought to myself, there's gotta be something valuable in here. And sure enough, I found a penny from 2016. I didn't even think twice about it. Until I noticed there was no mint mark. I freaked out a little, because what if it was one of those super rare ones? I did what any normal person would do. I ran to the nearest coin dealer to get it checked out. Long story short, it wasn't worth $1 million, but it was still worth way more than a regular penny. Moral of the story: you never know what you might find, so it's always worth a look. So, if you've got a 2016 penny sitting in your collection, or better yet, in your change jar, take a good look. It could be worth a lot more than you think. Of course, not every 2016 penny with no mint mark will fetch $1 million, but it's definitely worth checking. You could end up sitting on a small fortune. If you want more tips like this on rare coins, hidden treasures, and ways to cash in on your collection, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. I'm here to help you discover the world of coins and find out which ones are worth big money. So, go ahead, subscribe, and join the coin hunting squad. You might just find the next $1 million penny hiding in your change. Thanks for watching, and remember, sometimes the smallest things are the most valuable.